Hello, and welcome back. Come spend a little bit of time with me preparing for lots of fun fall activities and gearing up for Thanksgiving. First on our list is using up a bunch of pumpkin and butternut squash. We are making up puree. So I do this every fall. It is one of my favorite things because I can buy all the pumpkins that I want for decorating, and then I can cook them as we get through fall. And I have tons of butternut squash, tons of pumpkins. Now some of these will go out to the animals, but today we are going to cook up a couple of butternut squash and this beautiful green pumpkin that I've had in the kitchen for quite a while now. Now for pumpkin and butternut squash, I like to chop them in half, rake out all of the seeds, and then just roast them. I don't add anything to them. I roast them at 400 degrees until they are soft and slightly browned. I like this better than peeling and boiling or any other kind of way that you would cook it, just because I don't have to peel them and it's kind of set it and forget it. You can also do them in the Instant Pot or slow cook them. That's fine too. But any way that I don't have to peel them is the best, and I find that roasting gives them a lot of flavor. Today is a nice, bright, and sunny day, and I am just spending some time lighting a cozy candle and decorating the kitchen a little bit for the rest of fall and Thanksgiving, putting up a new sign, my leaf garland, bringing it inside, and listening to some festive music in the background.
I've got plenty to be thankful for. I haven't got a great big yacht to sail from shore to shore.
We have collected all of the last little bits, including these loofah gourds from the garden. We cut them before the frost came, so they're not quite how dried out they should be. I'm going to let them rest on the hutch until I am ready to process them, and hopefully they will turn out just fine. This was such an interesting project to try out this year, and the garden was growing loofah. Now, I've learned a few things, and I don't have it entirely figured out, but next year I will plant way sooner. We planted pretty early this year compared to when we normally plant, but for some reason, these just did not start spitting out gourds until it was almost frost time, and we have a late frost because it stays so hot where we live. So loofah have a really long grow time. I will note that for next year. And so I actually had to cut these when they were green, or my mom did. And now I'm going to just dry them out in my oven at a really low temp and then peel them after they get kind of dried out and brown. Meanwhile, Aladon and I are trying out a new project while the loofah dry out in the oven. We are starting on some watercolor projects. I bought us a book and we are just having a blast practicing that. I'm dipping a little bit in here. It's a warm November day, and we have been all over the place today. My husband is home from work. And so we have spent the morning starting a cozy supper of chicken noodle soup, which I will continue to bring you along on. We went outside to collect some leaves for a small little thing I want to do this evening. And I've been putting out some more fall and Thanksgiving, just little decorations around the house. It's not really decorations, it's just things to make it feel more fall and festive for Thanksgiving that we have at the end of the month. We are celebrating all month long. So I added some really pretty pink, brown, and soft green ribbons in a couple places on my curtain here. I put some in our bedroom. I'm redoing our bedding, and I'm in the middle of that. And so lots of things are happening, but we have been doing a dessert auction in our ladies group at our church, kind of a thing for a family friend, a church family of ours. So today is baking day. I have to have it all ready to go to be picked up tomorrow. I'm going down to the church to help with pickups and drop-offs and all of that. So today I have to have my stuff done. And so for this auction, I donated an apple pie, 2 Coca-Cola cakes, some no-bake cookies, and then my friend right down the road, she sells take and bake, so like frozen cookie dough, take and bake cookies from her farm porch stand. And so I grabbed up some of those just to make my life a little bit easier, and so I need to bake those up, get my no-bakes going, but right now I'm working on my chocolate Coca-Cola cakes. I normally only make this in the summer. This is just one of those, I don't know, the Coca-Cola makes it seem very summery, but I guess it could be great in the fall. Who doesn't love chocolate? So I have those up, and I've got to get those baked first. I'm gonna try to talk to y'all as long as I can. This way the kids are outside. When they come in and my husband comes in, it just gets a little crazy. So I will swap to voiceover if that happens. But since I'm by myself, which is rare, I will chit chat as I do this. So I just have 2 sticks of, it's actually unsalted butter, but I added a pinch of salt because you're supposed to use salted butter. 2 sticks of butter and a cup of Coca-Cola in my pot here. And I'm melting that down, and then it's going to come to a boil before you add anything else. Now I'm using a really big pot because I don't like messes and I don't want extra dishes. I'm just going to mix it all up in the pot rather than boiling everything, putting everything else into a bowl, and then dumping that in. We're gonna do this hopefully with less dishes because I have so much to make today. Okay, so we're gonna do 4 cups of all-purpose. This is for 2 cakes. I'll put in the recipe card, or in the recipe card. I will put in the description just for 1 cake. I'm adding 4 cups of flour. Double everything. A tablespoon of baking powder. I'm actually going to do 2. You also could just use self-rising if you wanted to skip all this. I don't keep self-rising. I just make it. Quarter cup of cocoa powder. Do half of a cup. And then 4 cups of sugar. Probably have to fill my boil your Coke and your butter, add it to all your dry ingredients, and then you add in your eggs, buttermilk, and vanilla, and then put it in the oven. My oven is preheating to 350 degrees. I'm going to grease my pans, and then that is almost to a boil, and I will throw it all in. The only thing I can think of that we're missing is a nice cozy candle. but I don't have enough space on my countertop. But when I do have my holder, maybe I'll add one. Okay, so all that's combined. I've started adding my eggs, but I think I'm gonna add this in first. A 1/4 cup of buttermilk. Oops, 2. So this has Coca-Cola, lots of eggs, buttermilk, a thick chocolate icing that goes on top, or more like a glaze, like a sauce. So this is one really good cake. Okay, now I'm gonna add the rest of my eggs. That was just still a little warm for my liking. You can let this cool a minute before you add your eggs if you're worried about your eggs cooking in it. 2, I need 4. 3. 4. I should have an apron on, but I don't. Get these in the oven. Then just a few minutes before they're done cooking, I'll start the icing. Splash of vanilla. Oof, that was way more than a splash, but that's okay. Okay, cakes are in the oven, and I'm going to move on to the next item on my list. Now the kids are back inside. They're in their room for quiet time, so you might can hear their show on, but hopefully I can still keep talking to you. We'll see. So now I'm making no-bake cookies. I'm going to, let's see, 1/2 cup of margarine. I think I'm going to double this. Just make sure we have plenty, because I know the moment my son sees these things, he's gonna want some. So it's 1 cup of butter. My old, tattered, and worn cookbook here calls for margarine, but I do not use margarine, we use butter. So we're gonna do that. Even the page is all falling apart, and it looks really well used. And it is. Okay, So first you do your sugar, your cocoa, your milk, your butter, and your vanilla. As many times as I've made these, because we make these all the time, I would have this memorized, but that's okay. Okay. And then it's 1/4 cup of cocoa, so I'm doing about half. That's probably a bit more than that. That's okay. Sugar, cocoa, then we need milk and vanilla. I wanted to add a few fall touches to our bedroom. I had been decluttering this entire house, and so I had just gone through a bunch of stuff in our bedroom and decluttered and cleaned up. And so I added a few bows to the bedposts of our bed, and then I have this beautiful ceramic white frame that I usually keep a seasonal, like, nature picture in. I had forgotten to change it out for summer. I have some dried flowers from our garden for summer. And then for spring, I have a dried daffodil out of what used to be our orchard. And I forgot to swap it from the daffodil to the zinnias. But for fall, Alla went and picked me out some leaves, and I had some red and white gingham paper. So I'm adding that and putting it on our dresser next to a candle with a little brown velvet bow. Thank you so much for coming along with me today, and I hope to see you again next time.